Kaleb Cooper makes feelings clear on calls for Jeremy Clarkson to be made Prime Minister with brilliant answer. Kaleb Cooper has lent his support to the idea of Jeremy Clarkson, 64, becoming Prime Minister as he discussed his attendance at the farmers' protest earlier this month. The 26-year-old shot to fame as Clarkson's right-hand man on the former Top Gear presenter's show, Clarkson's Farm. Cooper became a fan favorite after first appearing in 2021, squabbling with Clarkson over the 64-year-old's often hapless farming efforts. Despite their differences, the pair have become close friends. On the back of the huge success of the show, Clarkson has become something of a champion for British farmers' interests, with Cooper also lending his voice occasionally. Both Cooper and Clarkson travelled from Chipping Norton to London earlier this month to join a protest against new government taxes on farmers. In her autumn budget, Chancellor Rachel Reeves announced an end to inheritance tax exemption for farms worth over £1 million, slapping farmers with a 20% tax when trying to pass their farm on. "It was good to be standing side by side with every farmer," Cooper said, as he and hundreds of others packed the streets of Westminster. Cooper laughed when asked about the potential of Clarkson entering politics. The 26-year-old exclaimed, "If it takes him away from the farm then yeah, of course." However, the farm sidekick did then give the idea some thought. Nodding, Cooper said, "He has to do what's best for him and it's up to him." The 26-year-old explained his journey to the farmers' protest was not the easiest as he hates London. "No disrespect to London, I'm sure if you live there it's an amazing place," Cooper assured, laughing. The nation's capital is home to two of his biggest fears, huge crowds and big buildings. "As I walk down the street I'm looking to the left of me and to the right thinking, what happens if they collapse on me? That is a possibility," Cooper said with a chuckle while speaking on Good Morning Britain. Despite Cooper's wishes, Clarkson will have another series of his wildly popular show to complete on his 1,000-acre diddly squat farm before he makes a move to Rad's Downing Street. Season 5 of Clarkson's Farm is coming, the 64-year-old announced on Instagram, accompanied by an impressive light show. Kaleb Cooper makes feelings clear on calls for Jeremy Clarkson to be made Prime Minister with brilliant answer. In a candid and often humorous response, Kaleb Cooper, the breakout star of Clarkson's Farm, has made his feelings abundantly clear on the ongoing discussions about Jeremy Clarkson's suitability to become the UK's Prime Minister. Cooper, who has become a beloved personality for his no-nonsense attitude and his dry wit, has recently responded to the curious public debate over whether the controversial television host should enter the world of politics. As calls for Clarkson to take on a more prominent political role continue to stir across various platforms, Cooper's answer, a blend of his trademark humor and insight, has only added fuel to the fire. His comments reflect not just his personal views on the matter, but also the complex nature of the public's relationship with Clarkson, a figure who has been both adored and criticized in equal measure over the years. Clarkson and Cooper, a unlikely duo with big impact. Kaleb Cooper and Jeremy Clarkson first became a household duo when Clarkson's Farm debuted on Amazon Prime Video in 2021. The show chronicles Clarkson's attempt to run a farm in the Cotswolds, and it quickly became one of the most popular and talked about programs in recent years. While Clarkson is undoubtedly the star of the show, it's Cooper, the young farmhand with an unfiltered personality, who has stolen the limelight. His no-nonsense approach to farming and his candid commentary have made him an internet sensation, and his sharp wit provides the perfect contrast to Clarkson's sometimes clueless, bumbling persona. The dynamic between Clarkson and Cooper, which is often portrayed as a mentor-mentee relationship, has led to numerous comedic moments and viral content. Yet, behind the humor, there's also a sense of genuine camaraderie and respect. Cooper's straightforwardness has endeared him to viewers, and his role on the farm is not just that of an assistant, but someone who calls out Clarkson on his antics, often with a brutal but endearing honesty. It's this authenticity that has led to Cooper's unexpected rise in popularity. As Clarkson's Farm venture turned into a hit, so too did Cooper's presence in the public eye. While many expected Clarkson to take center stage, it was Cooper who quickly gained a loyal following. This, of course, has placed him at the center of conversations about his future, his opinions, and even his relationship with his famous employer. The debate. Jeremy Clarkson for Prime Minister. The idea of Jeremy Clarkson stepping into the political arena isn't entirely new. Over the years, Clarkson has made a name for himself not only as a television personality but also as an outspoken commentator on politics and society. His opinions on Brexit, the environment, and other hot-button issues have often sparked controversy, with some seeing him as a voice of reason in an otherwise polarized landscape, while others view him as a relic of an outdated, less progressive world. Clarkson's candid, often abrasive take on political matters has led to some tongue-in-cheek calls for him to enter politics, specifically, to take on the role of Prime Minister. Whether it's his supporters hoping for a no-nonsense leader who isn't afraid to challenge the status quo or his detractors humorously suggesting he'd be the perfect figurehead for a populist movement, the conversation has been an ongoing source of media attention. The idea became particularly prominent after a viral tweet from a well-known conservative figure, who joked that Clarkson should become Prime Minister to bring about the kind of leadership Britain needed in the current climate. This sparked a wave of public debate, with some taking the suggestion seriously and others poking fun at the concept. What followed was a flurry of public figures commenting on the matter, with many sharing their own thoughts on Clarkson's potential political aspirations. For Kaleb Cooper, this growing debate was not something he had initially sought to address. But as the conversation gained traction, it became inevitable that the question would eventually come his way. After all, as Clarkson's most prominent collaborator, Cooper's views on his boss are highly sought after. Kaleb Cooper responds with trademark wit. When asked by a reporter during an interview about his thoughts on the possibility of Jeremy Clarkson running for Prime Minister, Kaleb Cooper's response was as blunt and funny as one would expect from the young farmer. The question, which had been circulating for some time, had clearly been on Cooper's mind, and he didn't shy away from offering his opinion. "I think Jeremy would be a disaster as Prime Minister," Cooper said, flashing a mischievous grin. "But that doesn't mean I don't think he'd be brilliant at it. The country might burn to the ground, but it'd be a hell of a ride watching it happen. Honestly, I think he'd probably get things done in a way no one else would. Just don't expect him to do it by the book." The answer, which was delivered with Cooper's signature mix of sarcasm and blunt humor, immediately caught the attention of those in attendance. His response was clear. While he didn't think Clarkson was cut out for the role of Prime Minister in a traditional sense, he acknowledged the appeal of his unorthodox approach to leadership. "He's not afraid to tell people what he thinks, which is something I admire," Cooper continued. "If you're after someone who's going to make things interesting and shake up the system, then yeah, maybe he's your guy. But if you want someone who knows how to navigate Parliament or make sound decisions in the face of crises, probably not." Cooper's response was in line with his previous public persona, unapologetically honest, direct, and willing to speak his mind even when it's not the most politically correct thing to say. Fans of Cooper, many of whom had come to appreciate his straightforward approach to life and farming, applauded his take on the matter. Clarkson's own thoughts on politics. Jeremy Clarkson himself has never shied away from expressing his opinions on politics, and his statements about running for office have often been a blend of humor and self-awareness. Over the years, Clarkson has joked about entering politics, particularly after becoming frustrated with the state of the UK's leadership. He's made remarks about the country's direction and the need for a new kind of leadership, but whether he would ever take the leap into full-time politics remains to be seen. In one of his more memorable interviews, Clarkson responded to the idea of running for office with his typical irreverence. "If I were ever to go into politics, I would have to make a lot of changes, starting with telling everyone to stop being so bloody sensitive. But let's be honest, I'd probably just end up saying something controversial and getting fired within a week." It's clear that while Clarkson has toyed with the idea of politics, he understands the chaos and difficulty involved. His comments, often laced with self-deprecating humor, suggest that he might not be entirely serious about the prospect but instead enjoys the attention and the conversations it generates. Regardless of whether Clarkson ever takes on a formal political role, his ability to spark debate and make people think critically about the current political landscape cannot be denied. Kaleb and Clarkson, the unlikely political influence. While the idea of Clarkson in politics may seem far-fetched to some, Kaleb Cooper's response highlights a deeper undercurrent of public dissatisfaction with traditional political leaders. The calls for Clarkson to take on such a prominent role speak to a yearning for more authentic, unfiltered voices in positions of power. Cooper's own rise to fame through Clarkson's farm can be seen as part of this larger shift, with audiences gravitating towards figures who reject the polished, manufactured personas often associated with mainstream media. "I think people want someone who's real," Cooper remarked in a follow-up comment. "And I think people see Jeremy as real, even if he's a bit rough around the edges. At least he's honest, and I think that's what a lot of people are missing from their leaders." Whether or not Clarkson will ever seriously consider a political career, Cooper's reflections suggest that there is a growing hunger for authenticity in leadership, something that both Clarkson and Cooper seem to embody. In a time of political polarization and public dissatisfaction, the prospect of an outsider, someone who isn't afraid to break the mold, appeals to many. Public reaction. Mixed views, growing curiosity. The public reaction to Cooper's comments has been predictably divided. Some have praised his blunt honesty, appreciating his willingness to speak out on a controversial subject. Others, however, have questioned whether Clarkson's potential candidacy for Prime Minister is a genuine proposition or merely an entertaining distraction from more pressing political matters. "I love Kaleb's honesty," one fan tweeted. "Jeremy Clarkson as Prime Minister would be absolute chaos, but it would be one hell of a ride." Another commenter, however, was more skeptical. "I don't think Jeremy Clarkson should be anywhere near politics. We need leaders who actually know what they're doing, not just people who make us laugh." As the debate continues, it's clear that the relationship between Clarkson, Cooper, and the wider public is one that blurs the lines between entertainment and reality. While Clarkson's entry into politics may seem unlikely, the conversations it sparks offer a glimpse into the evolving nature of celebrity influence in today's world.